quick Diddy did it update while we're still waiting on the judge to rule on Diddy's sentence. Last night, Sean Combs submitted a 4-page letter to the judge saying that he was sorry for any hurt or pain that he has caused others, asking the judge to give him a second chance. He apologized to Cassie in the letter. Now, did he apologize to her in person? Doubtful. He says the scene and images of him assaulting Cassie play over and over in his head daily. Is that because he's sorry or because he remembers it for his enjoyment? He says he literally lost his mind. He was dead wrong for putting his hands on the woman that he loved. He was sorry for that and always would be. As far as the young woman who testified under the pseudonym of Jane, Diddy writes in his letter that he really thought that he was just providing for her and her child, but after hearing her testimony, he realized that he actually hurt her, and he's deeply sorry for that as well. Also pointed out in his letter, he realized that the trial did gain a lot of global press, that the judge may be inclined to make an example out of him. He asked the judge to make an example of what the person he could be if he was afforded a second chance. If you want to read Sean Combs' full page letter, it is posted at yahoo.com. If you remember, Diddy did not testify at his own trial, so he did request to be able to address the court this morning, and he also requested that he be able to wear non-prison attire to his sentencing hearing. Even more disturbing than the 4-page letter, his defense team submitted an 11-minute video. And in this video, it is featuring Diddy and his family over the years. So it's like a documentary style video. It's a montage of home movies and new clips showing Combs taking care of his children, as well as all the charitable work that he has done. It even includes a clip of him running the New York City Marathon back in 2003, where he raised $2 million for the NYC Children's Charities. The lead prosecutor who was on Diddy's case, Maureen Comey, who was a former assistant U.S. attorney and also the daughter of the former FBI director James Comey, was actually fired a couple weeks after the trial, so she will not be appearing in the sentencing hearing. I reported yesterday that Mia, she testified under a pseudonym as well, who was one of Diddy's former assistants, initially was slated to appear and speak against Diddy in this morning's hearing. She contacted the prosecutor's office and stated that she was not going to appear, so she will not be making a statement. She said that she felt as if she was intimidated or bullying out of giving her statement. The judge has also allowed 6 of Diddy's 7 children to speak to the court on their father's behalf. The defense specifically asked the court to not consider any of the conduct that Combs was acquitted of during his sentencing in the Big Rico case, that any testimony from his former girlfriends who said that they were coerced to participate in the sexual encounters, the judge not take that into consideration for his sentencing, since he was only found guilty on the 2 prostitution charges with the male escorts. But the judge ruled that the court would consider testimony surrounding Combs' acquitted conduct in determining the length of his sentence. So he said that they will consider all facts to impose the sentence, but not greater than what is necessary. So for all the people who were saying the judge had a personal vendetta against Diddy, and that with Cassie submitting the letter discussing all of her abuse, that's not what he was found guilty of. So the defense is asking that none of that be taken into consideration, but the judge is saying no. The judge said no. He will consider whatever facts that he deems necessary. The judge did blatantly say that he did not agree with the defense's arguments. He said, in general, the narrative that he and his attorneys have put forth that this case involves nothing more than adults paying for time, not sex, is flatly inconsistent with both reality and his accepting accountability. The prosecution, in addressing the court, also points out in a strange turn of events, Diddy has already booked himself for speaking events next week in Miami. The prosecution also points out that Diddy's 4-page letter to the court made it seem like he was the victim, not the women that he actually abused. He puts Combs actually. The prosecution also addresses Diddy's 4-page letter that he submitted to the court last night, where he says, "My domestic violence will always be a heavy burden that I have to carry forever," where it made it seem like he was the victim, not the actual women that he abused. And the prosecution is also asking the judge to consider Diddy's violent tendencies, violent nature, that all the women testified to, even though he was not found guilty on those charges. Multiple people have testified to how violent he is. That should go into consideration for the length of time that he should remain in prison. Defense is still arguing the Mann Act, which is the law that makes it illegal to transport people across state or international lines for the purpose of prostitution. They're saying it should not be applied to Combs because he did not make any money off of these transactions, even though he did pay the male prostitutes for the travel and for the actual sexual acts. But that is their argument. Of the attorneys on Diddy's defense team is an African American woman named Nicole Westmoreland. In her statement to the court, said that Diddy was an inspiration to his community, that as an entrepreneur, as a hip-hop mogul, writer, producer, owner of record and music labels, he was wearing all the hats that he could, that the community, through Diddy, finally had a seat at the table, a voice. And after Sean Combs figured out how to move within that industry, he moved on to help others. And I would say there are a lot of artists that would disagree with that because Diddy was known for not paying his people and doing his artists dirty. So, but that was her heartfelt argument to the court about Diddy being a stand-up citizen and an inspiration to the Black community. I will keep you updated on who else is going to make a statement to the court. And hopefully, with all these people slated to make statements, that the judge is still able to issue his verdict today so we can wrap this up. Until next time.